The Rhodes Scholarship is without a doubt the most prestigious scholarship in the entire world, hands down. And today, what I'm going to be doing is helping you to prepare for your final round interview coming up in late September or October. As context, I was a finalist for this scholarship last year in 2023, and I've since gone on to start pursuing my master's at Harvard University on two of the most prestigious full-ride scholarships in the entire world. And now I've entered back into the Rhodes Scholarship arena, just like you guys, to try and get funding for my DPhil in education that I'm hoping to do next year at Oxford University. To make this video easier to follow, I have built a free Rhodes Scholarship interview guide. That is right, it's free. Top of the description, please go and check it out right now, download it. It's just in a Google Drive folder, along with my scholarship winning personal statement and the Google form where if you're looking for more personalized one-on-one support, just fill it out and I'll see what I can do. I've broken up this video into three main parts, but I strongly recommend that you watch the video in its entirety because there is so much invaluable information all throughout. The first step is to set the scene of what it's like to be invited for a Rhodes Scholarship final round interview and social engagement dinner. So roughly 2 weeks before your interview, you'll receive a call from the State Secretary from the Rhodes Trust or just a representative from the Rhodes Trust informing you that you've been selected for a final round interview and a social engagement dinner. They will also inform you that there are roughly 5 to 10 other exceptional candidates who will also be interviewing for this scholarship and that you are required to attend Government House or a very fancy venue in roughly 2 weeks' time for a social engagement dinner on the Thursday night and then your final round interview on the Friday morning. When the night of the social engagement comes, you are going to be extremely nervous. You will be attending Government House or a very fancy venue for a 7-course meal typically. You'll spend the night rotating around the dinner table talking to all of the different Rhodes Scholarship panelists who are likely either prestigious leaders in your state or former Rhodes Scholars themselves, and the whole dinner reception will last around 3 to 4 hours. My biggest piece of advice for this social engagement dinner is just to try your best to talk about anything other than the Rhodes Scholarship itself. Unless the panelists specifically ask you about why you want to study at Oxford or why you applied to the Rhodes Scholarship, try your best to talk about anything else in order to build a non-professional, human-like connection. Okay, let's move on to the final interview itself. On the Friday morning, you will have a 25 to 30-minute interview window, and you'll enter into a giant room with roughly 9 to 10 panelists. The governor or the chair of the board will start by asking you an opening question, and then each of the panelists will take turns asking you a question that is predetermined and asked to every single candidate. In my opinion, the philosophy of the Rhodes Scholarship interview is that they've already read your application, they know what your professional accomplishments are, what you want to do at Oxford, why you want to study there, what you're going to do with your life. They know all of that stuff. And so what they're really interested in is understanding the core of you as a person, and then also what you understand about the rest of the world and what your opinions are on global affairs. So there's personal questions, there's a lot of global questions, and then the third category I'm gonna add on is a category that I'm just gonna call extremely random questions. Some of these really random questions might be like, what's the role of mathematics in a child's development? What was the most significant technological discovery over the last century? Or why is science funding important? They can literally just be about anything, and there's not a whole lot you can do to prepare for them. The good news is that you can prepare for the personal questions and the global questions themselves. So in the interview guide, I've written a page and a half of all the questions I believe you need to be prepared for in order to have adequate preparation for your Rhodes Scholarship final round interview. The majority of the document is dedicated to personal questions, so these have been broken up into categories such as like, why do you want a Rhodes Scholarship, degree specific questions, future ambitions, what is your contribution to the Rhodes community, and then also questions about the legacy of Cecil Rhodes and the Rhodes Scholarship itself. These personal questions really didn't pop up for me last year, but that doesn't mean that they can't pop up in your interview this year, because every single year is a new set of questions. The second half of the questions is the global questions, which is hands down the most important category in my opinion and will make up the overwhelming majority of your interview. In the document, I've written 21 categories that I think you need to be across at the very minimum. You should know the facts about each topic and the current state of their affairs, but also more importantly, have innovative solutions and a strategic direction about where we should head to resolve those issues. Finally, all the candidates will be interviewed in the morning, and then the judges will spend a few hours deliberating, and then roughly at 2 or 3 p.m. in the afternoon, they're going to bring you all back into a room and announce who is the winner of the Rhodes Scholarship for that year. Okay, so now that the context is set, let's move on to how you can actually prepare. First and foremost, you're only given 2 weeks notice for your interview, so if you wait until you get an interview invite, I promise you, it's too late. Unless you have a very deep understanding of yourself and global affairs and are very comfortable in an interview environment, particularly when it's this high stakes, unless you've got all those boxes ticked, 2 weeks is not enough and you need to start preparing right now. What I suggest is that you take all those questions that I wrote down in the interview guide and start writing answers to every single one of them. The biggest mistake I made last year when I was doing this was that I wrote full-fledged answers that extended out to almost a page long sometimes. So this year what I'm doing and what I highly recommend you guys do is keep your answers to 5 dot points maximum. That is, every single answer you write, whether it be the personal questions or global affairs, should be condensed to 5 dot points maximum, and each dot point should only be a maximum of 2 lines long. On the day of the interview, this is going to allow you to be authentic, it's going to allow you to have some improvisation in there, and it's also going to allow you to keep your answers concise and to the point. At the bottom of the document, I've given a bunch of examples of how you can go about using the 5 dot point structure, and I highly recommend you use those as templates just to get you started on your journey. Finally, once you've finished writing out all your interview answers, you need to move on to the mock interview phase. Seek out mentors, teachers, friends that you really respect and trust, and simulate the Rhodes Scholarship interview as close as possible to how I just explained it earlier. And I would say, as a goalpost, aim to do anywhere between 3 and 5 mock interviews before your final interview. The final component I want to talk about is mental preparation. From my personal experience, there is nothing that brings me more anxiety than the Rhodes Scholarship interview itself. I've interviewed for so many big scholarships over the years, and there is nothing as nerve-wracking, intense, discomforting, and just stressful as a Rhodes Scholarship interview. And upon reflection, I just think it's because the scholarship is so prestigious and the interview process is so intense. With that in mind, let's go into the mental preparation. After learning from the mistakes of last year, there are 3 key mental attitudes that I want to bring into this year's interview, and I highly recommend that you do this as well. The first attitude you need to adopt is you need to stop caring about the competition, because it literally does nothing. Last year, as soon as I found out who the top 6 were for the Rhodes Scholarship for Western Australia, I very quickly went online, started looking at their LinkedIns, identifying their bios and the strengths of their applications and the flaws of their applications, and sizing myself up about how I'd stack up. And I'm gonna say this as clear as daylight. It doesn't matter who your competition is because it's out of your control. All you can control is the quality of your application, how you interact with the judges on the night of the dinner, and the quality of your final round interview. Who you're up against is completely out of your control. Don't look them up on LinkedIn, don't stress over their bios and their endless list of accomplishments. Just focus on being the best candidate you can be, because that is all that you can control. It will save you so much mental stress, and it will allow you to be the best version of yourself on the day. The second tip is to go in with the mindset that the Rhodes Scholarship isn't the be all and end all. You need to go in with a mindset that whilst you really would like to win the Rhodes Scholarship, you don't need the Rhodes Scholarship, because you're gonna be successful either way. Having this mindset will really help you to relax, take the interview less intensely, and really bring out your character in that interview setting. To help you achieve this mindset, I'm just gonna read out 2 really famous quotes about the Rhodes Scholarship that are kind of often thrown around in a humorous manner. Number 1, Rhodes Scholars often go on to lead successful lives, but almost Rhodes Scholars often go on to lead more successful lives. And number 2, Rhodes Scholars had a bright future in their past. What both of these humorous quotes are trying to get at is that the Rhodes Scholarship doesn't make you. It enhances your life and it makes things easier, but it isn't the precursor for success, and you do not need a Rhodes Scholarship to achieve greatness in this world. And the final and most important piece of advice is, if you lose, you need to keep your chin up. I lost the Rhodes Scholarship, the Fulbright Scholarship, and Monash Scholarship all back to back in the interview stages, and I thought my college dreams and scholarship dreams were all over. Despite these failures, I kept pushing, I applied for another 13 scholarships, and now I'm doing my master's at Harvard on 2 of the most prestigious scholarships in the world. And because my master's is only 1 year long, I get the opportunity to apply for the Rhodes Scholarship again and hopefully do my DPhil at Oxford. So that's going to conclude today's video. I know that was a lot, but it's the Rhodes Scholarship, so it is what it is. I genuinely wish you all the best in your Rhodes Scholarship application this year, and if you have any questions at all on your mind, be sure to write them in the comments below or reach out to me on LinkedIn, and I'll do my best to respond and help you out with your concerns or questions. Good luck.